Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So a couple days ago we talked about the state of Pennsylvania and how that is going to most likely be the tipping point state, the most crucial state that will determine the outcome of the 2024 election. That's going to be the state that if Trump gets it, more likely than not, he's over the hump. He's going to win if he gets Pennsylvania. Doesn't necessarily mean that these other states don't matter and that he wouldn't like to do well across the board because, yeah, if you get Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, you won't need Pennsylvania. Now, still, more likely than not, I feel like Pennsylvania is the big prize you need, but Arizona, it's important. Republicans would like to have the state of Arizona. They would like to claim it back, and they would like to defeat Biden there. And so far, the polls show Donald Trump with nearly a 5-point lead in Arizona, which is more than what he won the state by in 2016. And it's also important to note that even though we don't know what the final result's going to be, we still have another 10 months, 10 and a half, almost, a little bit less than that, until the election. What's important to note is that, yeah, the polls may not be the same then. The result may narrow, things might tighten. You don't know what's going to happen. So you need a little bit of insurance, per se, more so than you had in 2020 in some regards, and Trump got just that because the Green Party is on the ballot. They're going to be on the ballot in Arizona. They were not on the ballot in 2020. They were not on the ballot in 2022. And Arizona is a state, there's not this giant far left or so-called anti-establishment left faction like you have up in a state like Vermont or even in the Pacific Northwest, but it's not exactly an insignificant number of people either. There's a reason why they've basically ousted Sinema from the party and have replaced her with Gallego, despite the fact that Sinema is herself very left-leaning. She votes with Biden 100% of the time. That's even more of a voting record with Biden than somebody like Bernie Sanders has. Yes, it is true she might try to dilute certain aspects of his agenda that otherwise wouldn't really pass, but mainly it's an optics game. She just signs on to whatever Manchin's going to do sometimes, but usually not. But nevertheless, you look at that there, and it's like she's a fake moderate. We know that. But even then, parts of the Democrat Party in Arizona tried to oust her. You look at their governor there, you have some fake moderates. They'll pretend to be moderates, but we know they lean very far to the left in some regards. And even those people have, factions of the Democrat Party that are not on board with them. That means there's probably like a good chance that because Biden's so unpopular and that a good portion of the left doesn't really like Biden, you might see more and more people kind of defect to the third-party candidates. Jill Stein, that's the star candidate the Green Party has. We don't know if Cornel West is going to be on the ballot. RFK Jr. might be on the ballot. He's probably going to take away possibly some McCain-style Republicans in the process that may have voted for Biden or Hobbs over these past couple of cycles, but, they may not be fond of Biden right now. They might go third party. Doesn't mean they're going to vote for Trump. Doesn't even mean they would vote for any of these other Republicans in the running. But nevertheless, the more third parties, the better. Look at 2016. Trump won the state with 48.1% of the vote. That is less of a vote share than he got in the state in 2020. That's less of a vote share that Kari Lake got in 2022. And partially why he did so well is because you had the strong third parties. Gary Johnson, more of the stand-in for RFK Jr., but also Jill Stein was on the ballot, taking 1.3% of the vote away. And then you look at Arizona in 2020. You had libertarians on the ballot, and yeah, technically the Green Party, you could write them in, but nobody writes in third-party candidates. Make no mistake about it. The guy got I think not even 1,000 write-ins or so, give or take. If the Green Party was on the ballot, Donald Trump would have won the state of Arizona outright in 2020. And if the Green Party was on the ballot in 2022, Kari Lake would be governor of the state of Arizona. That's the way these things work. And as a result, the fact that the Green Party is going to be on the ballot, it's not a guarantee either way, but what that does is, yes, it takes votes away from Biden. It does. You may say it's not 100% to zero, and maybe some of these people that vote for the Green Party would not be voting, if the Green Party was not on the ballot. Maybe it's a protest vote in some people's eyes, but nevertheless, yes, these people overwhelmingly that voted for Jill Stein back in 2016, they would have voted for Hillary Clinton reluctantly if Jill Stein was not on the ballot. The Green Party did not get on the ballot in 2020. They really didn't have that strong of a candidate that had name recognition. Now they kind of get that back a little bit in 2024. We're bringing back some of the 2016 vibes. And if Trump is really getting 47% of the vote already in Arizona without undecideds, if Biden's down there at 42, let's say the end result is like 48 and then Biden gets like 46, even then, the Green Party that eats into the margins, for sure, it helps Donald Trump. Even if he wins Arizona by more than whatever the Green Party gets, it helps him. And that's a good thing. You need the third-party candidates there because Biden is absolutely despised. And Biden's more despised, though, than Hillary Clinton was back in 2016. And Donald Trump now, even though you may say his favorables dropped a couple percentage points from like 3 years ago, they're not really down that much. They are up significantly in most polling from where Trump was at back in 2016 leading up to the election. And that's with a lot of Republicans right now saying they disapprove of him just because they're not going to be voting for him in a primary, but they're going to come on board. So many of them have already come on board. The primary is going to be over before we know it. Donald Trump is going to go out there and unite the party behind him. But you're looking at this is Arizona. This is a state, a lot of people say it's not a very Trump-friendly state compared to some other Republicans, but I mean, the state has changed so much demographically, and the Republican Party is kind of, yes, you have this rift. A great portion of the Republican Party in Arizona is extremely pro-Trump. They are this nationalist populist wing. We know that. That's why you have Representative Paul Gosar. That's why you have Andy Biggs. That's why Carrie Lake is such a prominent figure. And she's going to have an easier time than Trump if Kyrsten Sinema's in the race, because once again, those third-party candidates, they're mainly going to be eating into the non-Trump margin. If Trump gets 48% in Arizona, even, let's say he falls short in the state, but Carrie Lake gets 46, 47, just because you have Sinema there, the incumbent third party. If she's in the race, which maybe she's not, well, that's probably going to take more of these Biden, McCain-style Republican, so-called independent voters that live in the eastern portion of Maricopa County, and that's going to help out Carrie Lake significantly, and these third parties will help Donald Trump out significantly as well in the state. The state is 11 electoral votes still. It's an important state. You should want to win it. You should want to have it in your column. You may not need it because, yeah, if Trump gets his states and then he adds Pennsylvania, he adds Georgia, and then, Nevada, give or take, throw it in there, yeah, Trump will be at 270. You only need 270 to win. But you'd like to have Arizona. You would like to have as many swing states as possible. You want that decisive victory across the board because it gives you that mandate going in to your presidential term. And if Donald Trump goes out there, he's winning the popular vote, that's an even bigger mandate that he has. Remember the mandate? Bush claimed he got the mandate in 2004 because he won the popular vote then, didn't win it in 2000. Either way, the popular vote really doesn't matter. It's bragging rights, but still bragging rights aren't really nothing in politics, even though they aren't everything either. But you look at Arizona, yeah, this is a state Donald Trump can win. Biden's numbers with Hispanics are not so good. Yeah, Trump has struggled among those suburban, white college-educated voters. That may be true, but at the end of the day, with him on the ballot galvanizing his own base, picking off Hispanics, and you see some of those college-educated suburbanites, defecting from Biden, maybe not to Trump, but to third-party candidates, well, what does that show you? It shows you that Donald Trump is going to be in an even stronger position to go out there and take the Grand Canyon state. And this is true. And it's in every single poll. We haven't even seen a poll recently that has Trump down in Arizona. Yeah, the polls are not perfect. The polls are not everything. We're a year out. But if every single poll in every single state is showing the same thing, even the polls that got the midterms right, even the polls that we looked at before the midterms and we said that's going to be wrong, and then the polls ended up being right, well, look what happened. Those same polls show Donald Trump doing very well because it's across the board and everybody knows it. That's why you have Democrats scrambling. Some people want to replace Biden. Are they going to be able to? Well, they're kind of running out of time, so I would probably push back against the notion that they will. And even now we've seen some polling that shows the fact that if they did replace Biden with somebody like Newsom or Kamala Harris, they would do even worse. It's not looking too good for the Democrats. Now, a lot can change. We understand Biden's an incumbent. We'll see what he tries to do to recover here. We have 10 months, but the polls are showing the same thing what they showed 10 months ago. In fact, the polls are looking worse for Biden now. And he's like, read the polls. And it's like, we're reading the polls, Biden. It's not looking good for you. And that's true. But it is looking good for Trump because he's getting this boost with the third-party candidates on the ballot in Arizona. And honestly, you add that to Georgia as well. You look at what's going to happen in a place like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. You have a very big far-left bastion in, Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor. You have Dane County, Wisconsin, Madison. And even though these people don't like Trump, they also don't like Biden. Some of them despise Biden because they think he's too right-leaning, which is ridiculous. But they will be voting, some of them will be voting for the Green Party. And also, it seems like the Trump hatred fatigue is kind of kicking in. Because, the only people I really see foaming at the mouth, angry at Donald Trump, are like the DeSantis influencers right now. And I know things can change. We're in an election year. We're going into one. It's going to be tumultuous in terms of the political cycle. But it really seems as if this whole resist lib thing, they're exhausted. They keep getting clowned on. When the party unites, I think it's going to be a lot better for Donald Trump, regardless of how many times they try to take him off the ballot or indict him or do whatever. It's not working. And even the Maine case, I wasn't going to make a full video on it because it's basically the same thing as Colorado. They're saying, we'll take him off if the Supreme Court takes him off. The Supreme Court's not going to take him off. The far-left court of Colorado barely said Trump should be taken off, and even then, he's not going to be taken off, like I said, till the Supreme Court rules that he will be, and they won't. So there you go. Arizona, looking good for Trump so far. We're kind of a ways away. But the fact that you have these third-party candidates in the mix, it's looking up for Donald Trump, as well as Kari Lake in the Senate race if Sinema does decide to run. And even if not, I think it's still winnable. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.